My presentation is on the Public Utilities Regulatory Policies Act, PURPA, and it's actually one of the oldest pieces of energy or renewable legislation. It was enacted in 1978 under the Carter administration. And what I'm going to talk about is a little bit of a retrospective, talk about how PURPA helped stimulate renewables, how it has started to lose steam. That's not a joke because there's cogen, steam, as a result of the rise of different state policies to promote renewables, and what value it still has in today's climate, even though it's been eroded to some degree. There were some changes to PURPA in 2005, so I'll talk about, 2005 was sort of a watershed year because there were actually efforts to eliminate PURPA entirely. And the reason for that is PURPA compels utilities to purchase power from qualified facilities, which are small power developers or cogen facilities. And so there was some question about whether you need to do that anymore now that markets are much more competitive. And so the compromise was that in competitive markets you can eliminate this mandatory purchase, but in other markets where there's no competition or for smaller projects, it stays intact. And so many felt that that was going to be the demise of PURPA, that these mandatory purchase obligations would be eliminated, and that hasn't really fully happened. And at the same time, there are new opportunities for companies to take advantage of PURPA. One of the benefits of PURPA is it allows for long-term contracts, and so from a perspective of renewable, that can really be used to hedge against gas prices. So I'm going to talk about those types of opportunities that companies can continue to look for under PURPA. Well, it wasn't necessarily voluntary. About a year ago, I was commissioned by the Southern Alliance for Clean Energy to revisit the issue of PURPA. SACE had found that some of its members were having problems getting favorable rates under PURPA, and so the original intent of the study was to show that there were more favorable ways to set rates that could benefit those members. And when I started to look into the research, it turned out that there are 50 different ways to set rates under PURPA. Each state has a different, very complex policy. And so that was sort of the impetus for it. And the reason that they had asked me to do is my legal practice focuses on renewables and sort of federal state issues and very other issues related to renewable incentives under different federal and state laws. So that was how I got involved in it, and then I had the research done, and so it just seemed like a good topic to propose that there'd be some interest in it here. I think what I like most is just seeing the emergence of new technologies, seeing these companies that have a vision for sustainable energy and working with them as they struggle to bring their different technologies to market. It's something that's very different from the work I used to do when I first entered the energy industry, which is just basically working for large companies that dominate the field. And today there's just like a wealth of innovation that will power future generations. I think it's really exciting.